Topics with Donna. And on this show, we do one thing: keep it real hot. That's honest, open, and transparent. If you didn't know, now you know. So sit back and unwind as we bring the vibe and a little bit of glorious sunshine to your heart, soul, and mind. Your lovely host, Hot Donna, will be with you in just a few moments. But while you wait, go ahead and set an atmosphere of peace in your space. If you can, cut the lights down low, get your hydration on, vibrations on. Cause tonight, you're about to receive some delicious food for your soul. Are you ready? Are you ready? It's about to get hot. You are indeed in the one and only place to be this evening. We appreciate you for joining us, and in just a few moments, we about to turn the heat all the way up. That's right. It's about to go down right now on Hot Topics with Donna. Show your virtual love by smashing that thumbs up and heart icon as many times as you can. And without further ado, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing your host, the one and only Hot Donna.
Hello. Oh, let me get my seat right. Guys, welcome to Hot Topics with Donna. I hope you guys are doing amazing today. I'm excited about interviewing my guest today. So welcome. If this is your first time tuning in to Hot Topics with Donna, HOT stands for honest, open, and transparent. Hey, LaWanda. Hey, Harold. Hey, Audrey. And so today's word that I chose for my guest is strength, because I always choose a word for each of my guests out of my little book, and this is the word that I chose for her today. And so, hold on, I got to get my little readers. So it's going to be coming from Isaiah 40:28-31, and this is the NIV version. It says, "Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even the youth grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint." And that's the word that I chose for my guest today. Not just for her, just for everybody, even me. We have to keep strength in whatever we're doing and know that God got us. He got us. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. And we're going to get started. So I hope you guys had an amazing day. Had a great weekend. And at the end, I will give y'all some updates on some fashion shows that's going to be coming locally. So just look out for that. Hey, beautiful. How are you?
Hi, gorgeous. I'm well. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's good to see you.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, we got to do another meetup soon.
Soon.
For sure. So before you introduce yourself, the word that I chose for you today was strength.
I get it.
And so
I get it.
Just in overall, before we divulge into our conversation, how do you keep your strength?
My strength comes from God above, number one. The first and foremost is my prayer, fasting, focusing the important things in life and not on just, I remember when I used to just think everything mattered. It doesn't anymore.
Absolutely.
Right now, only the important things matter. So it's just trusting God. And I draw my strength from my kids. My kids are my everything. And knowing that I'm the example that they have to see, the example of the word, the example of strength, the example of the Bible. My kids have to see that through me. So
Absolutely.
I have to maintain that even in my weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that my strength is even through my tears. I just recently started letting my kids see me cry because they have to know that there's strength even in your weakness. There is still strength. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that God is sustaining me. So it's definitely through the Lord above. That's the best I can do. That's it right there.
Absolutely. So tell people who you are and where you reside.
Hi, my name is Felicia Dixon. I reside at this current time in Macclesfield, North Carolina. A lot of people don't know where that is. That's between Farmville and Tarboro. I am a 51-year-old widowed mother of 6, grandmother of 5. I am a minister of the gospel. November make 19 years at Salvation and Praiseful Gospel Church under the tutelage of Apostle Ed T. Edwards. I am a praise and worship leader. There's nothing better than praise and worship when I'm trying to get where I'm trying to get to.
Yes.
I am the founder of I'm Not Okay and It's Okay Ministry. I am in love with the Lord. I am in love with my amazing kids, and I'm just walking by faith at this particular time. I'm in a place I never thought I would be, but I'm here and I'm taking it full force and I'm moving forward with it all.
Amen. And so I read on your page, you said, don't worry about who I used to be. It says, but be just help me. I think I wrote too fast. But anyway, you said you don't worry about who you used to be, and you're not, and you're just going to help me to be the person that you're supposed to become.
That's it. That's it. Who I used to be is just really a part of who I am. I mean, it pushed me to be who I am right now.
Right.
And the thing about it is that I know we all have a past, and I take my past and I grow from it. I gain strength from what I used to have to do to get to where I am right now versus knowing that right now my straight avenue to my success is through Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And I used to have to go through my friends and find out what their opinion was and go through this person and that person. And I tell you, when God transitioned my mom and my dad, my grandmother and my husband, I have no choice but to be who you see me as today. They strengthened me to be who I am today, but I have to stand firm on my own prayers at this particular moment. So yeah, just push me to be who you think I should be, but allow me to make the main decision of where I'm going from here.
And so with your ministry, we're going to talk about that first. When did you know you were called to the ministry?
Called to the ministry. I remember that we were sitting in a church. Apostle had to go and preach in Virginia, as a matter of fact. And a lady walked up to me and she told me, she said, don't be afraid of what God is about to do in your life. And it was then that I started hearing God's voice more audible. And I knew that there was something inside of me that God needed and that God was, and it's not even the me that I am today. It's the me who I was, because so often people look at you and you're the only Bible they see. So I knew then that through reading the word and getting it into my spirit that there was more for me to do than just sing in the choir. Okay, God, what would you have me to do? And the messages that he allowed me to speak unto people was just like, okay, God, what are you wanting me? And preaching, I could have went all my life and never had done that. Never had a pulpit ministry. I was cool with that, but that's not what God wanted for me. So I talked to my apostle and he said it was time. And so I went forth almost 19 years ago and trusted God ever since. And I'm still standing on the wall.
Wow. So did you at any point be like, nah, I'm just good right here, Lord. I'm just good right where I'm at?
Yeah, the week before. Like, I was like, Apostle, can I change my mind? And I was his secretary at the time, and he was like, you haven't come to me with a date yet. And I said, oh, I'm good. He said, no, ma'am, you're not good. If you said God called you, it's time to put a date on the book and get you to where you're supposed to be. You'll never have me getting a whooping because you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So we got together, and I proved it.
Right. And
I did it.
have there been any challenges for you just as a woman being in the ministry?
I think the challenges come from me. You know, sometimes as women, we feel like we're not enough, that we're not good enough to do, we're not good enough to say, we're not good enough to speak. And who's going to believe? The thing about ministering is that you're telling people that God spoke to you and now you need to speak to them.
Right.
And challenging yourself to say, God, did I hear from you? Did I really hear from you? Is this message going to come forth and somebody is going to be healed, set free, and delivered? Is somebody going to be able to take what I'm about to say that you told me and let that live through them, and they're going to be able to push forward? So I think it's more me. I think I never go into the pulpit confident. I always am nervous because I want God to do the talking. I want God to do the speaking. And I know that my spirit has to be clear. I know that my mind has to be clear. My heart has to be clear if I'm really looking for God to use me. So that's when I'm like, now I know I had some challenges last week. These kids have got on my nerves. And now you want me to go and preach to a whole bunch of people. But God said, yes, through those trials and tribulations, I'm going to strengthen you. So there's a lot of insecurities, but it's just letting me know that it's not in my strength. It's only through God that I'm able to even move and have my being and even be allowed to step foot in anybody's pulpit to preach the word.
Yeah, I mean, I can see you. Do you feel like you? It's like, hey Jacob, how are you? It's like you're talking, but it's like it's after.
I don't know. I hear you fine. Like, I definitely, that's not a lag on my end.
No, I can hear you fine, but it's like your mouth is it's like you're talking, but it's like,
oh,
yeah, no, I can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you fine. So I mean, it's not like, it's just like, you know how it's like you're talking, but it's like a lag.
Like on the movies?
Okay, you fine now. You fine.
Okay.
Yeah, Satan, we ain't finna give you no glory. We ain't even think about you. But yeah, you know, because you was talking and you were perfectly clear, but it was like you were talking, but your mouth was like just moving.
Oh, okay.
But
Is
it
that
ain't
better?
like that now. Yeah, it
Okay.
ain't like that now. That's
We're
what I'm
good.
saying. Like,
He gets no glory. We're good.
that's what I said. He didn't get no glory here. And so when you was in the ministry, did you have people, whether it's family, friends, co-workers, or people be like, nah, this ain't what you should be doing? Because you know you were always a naysayer.
Well, they never said it to me. I remember when I first got saved back in 94. Was it 94? When I first got saved, I was so ready to go home and tell my grandma. You know, your grandma's the one that's looking at you. She said, girl, don't you be playing with the Lord now. I said, Grandma, I'm serious. I got saved today. And she was like, all right, now I'm going to be watching you. And I think that kept me on the straight and narrow as much as possible, is to know that my grandmother was not going to let me play with the Lord. You know, and my nickname is Susie. Okay, Susie, we're not playing with the Lord. Now, you say you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And I remember clear as day, I was so excited. And she was letting me know, okay, now this is what you said you are, and God ain't nothing to play with. And it kept me straight. I mean, I'm not saying I dotted every I and crossed every T, but I definitely never turned back to the point where I had to, you know, maybe I shouldn't. I've always been, even if it wasn't the pulpit, I always knew that the way that people could come to me, and I made myself susceptible to people being able to come to me. Because I'm good with never having a pulpit ministry, as long as the people are still able to feel free and to know me good enough in my spirit, to know the God that resides in me, to come and talk to me, then I'm fine. I am great.
I know. And you know, so was it a struggle for you? Because when you got saved, when we were in the world, was it hard to let go of that worldly piece at first? You know, because you know, like you said, you're gonna have to give up some stuff. Like you're gonna have to give it up.
Girl, I got saved on Sunday, went to the club on Saturday. And I did. And you know what I
That's real
did at the
talk.
club?
That's real talk.
You know what I did at the club? I sat there at the bar and fell asleep.
Mm.
In the middle of the club, pumping and jumping. I was
Because
sitting
you
at the
are
bar
out of
and I fell
order.
asleep. I was out of place and out of
Yes.
order. And
Yes.
then that was it right then. Like God said, I'm not even going to make it comfortable for you. I refuse to make it comfortable for you. What I
Yeah.
have for you to do is more important than what you want to do. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
and it was then I was like, got to hang up these dancing shoes. So yeah, I
Right.
tried it.
Right.
I tried it. I tried it. So
Yeah. And so when you left there and you was like, wow, I just really slept in here.
I really slept in the club. Like anybody could have walked up and did anything to
Mm.
me, sitting at that bar, just sleep. Like I was like, what am I doing? Like I
Yeah.
need to go home. It's time to go home. You know,
Yeah.
if I told God yes, then it's time to live the yes.
Oh,
So
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. And like you said, he will make it uncomfortable for us, whether we choose to listen and obey. He
right.
will. He
Yeah,
he will. And so
exactly.
here you are. Do you ever think one day you will want your own church?
No, I've been a church. I was a church secretary for 25 years. I worked very closely with my apostle. I thought all he goes through now. If the Lord pushes me in that direction, I'm not
Right,
going to
right,
disobey.
right.
But it's not a prayer. It's not one of my
Yeah,
prayer calls.
yeah,
It's not one of the things I wrote down that one day I want to do. It's not on my
yeah,
to-do list.
yeah.
Unless the Lord pushes me and audibly says in my ear, it's time, then I'm okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, what is your greatest reward about being in ministry?
You know, the greatest reward I have actually came. I mean, I'm grateful for the words that he's allowed me to preach. I'm grateful for the songs of Zion that he's allowed me to sing. But one of my greatest rewards came just a few weeks ago at a funeral of a young man that
Mm,
died in our community. And it was so many young people there. And
mm.
it was a young girl that I grabbed her hand and I walked up to the altar in the midst of altar call when they were just standing there. And I told some of the gentlemen that they need to, that it's been a long time since young men have had a hug. And it
Yes,
was a young
yes.
lady there, and I hugged her. And I
Mm,
told her, I said, the only way you're going to be able to see your friend again is to trust God and give your life to
mhm,
God. I said,
mhm.
nobody says you had to be perfect. Nobody said that you had to try to be somebody that you're not. I said, but if you allow God to work with you, things will change. I said, is today the day you want to give your life to the Lord? And she said, yes, it is. Yes, today is the day. And it blessed me because it was like, God, in this atmosphere, what could have been sadness
Mhm,
was a day that you received so many young people unto
mhm,
you. And
mhm.
you told them that it's okay to live for me. And I didn't call you to be perfect. There's none perfect but you. But that blessed me to the point where I'm like, okay, God, I'm not tired yet. I can't
Amen.
get tired. I can't get tired yet. Even in my early 50s, I can't get tired yet because
Absolutely.
they're listening and they're looking for realness.
And
So that
they
that
are,
blessed me.
and
Yeah.
and I had a young guy on here. He's in the ministry now, and it just blessed my soul because I watched him grow and evolve, you know, and go through some
Right.
challenges. But to see him as a young minister now,
Yeah. Yeah. And it matters when you've watched them evolve, you've watched them
yes,
change, and you know
absolutely.
that you know the enemy was after their soul because they're the
Oh,
future. So
yes,
if they're
yes,
the future, the enemy is totally after them to take and to steal, kill, and destroy to be on his
yes,
job. But
yes,
if they're not listening to something positive, then it's like, what am I in the fight for? So it's
right.
very important that we live the life that we're saying that we're going to live in front of them.
Right. And we have to stop being so high and mighty and not be able to reach our young people
That's
because,
it.
like you said,
That's it.
they're looking at it like, I'm in education. And so, like, my prayer is if I can just change one,
That's it.
I'm
That's it.
good. And so my thing, because they put me in a classroom and I was like, okay, it's me and the Lord. But one thing I've done since the day school started, I pray over myself, anoint myself. And when I'm done, I go in my classroom and I touch each and every desk, every
That's awesome.
chair, every single morning since school started back. And
That's
when those
awesome.
kids came in there and I tell God, you only know what they need. But I pray for their peace. I pray for them to have the attitude to want to work.
Have to.
And I'm
Yeah.
telling you what, sis, God is showing himself
That's
mighty. Those kids
awesome.
are coming in there working, because this was a class that they could have had in the summer. They failed the class, but they made this classroom. And they are finishing work like all day today. I had like 3 or 4 kids like finishing their work. And I'm like, but God,
That's
you know,
great. It's being able to see the work, being able to see
yes,
the evidence of your work. And that's
yes.
it right there. Yeah.
And we get so caught up, like in the ministry sometimes as pastors, deacons, and we get so, oh Lord, you know what, I can't. Yes, you can.
Yeah,
And
you have to. It's not even that
they're
you can't,
waiting for
it's
us.
that you have to, right? And my daughter was diagnosed ADHD and oppositional disorder. And now she wants to pray. She said, Mima, I've heard God's voice. I
Yes,
need to pray. When I'm having these
yes.
issues, I need to pray. I need to be trying to find another way to do it besides acting out. And they watch you. They're watching us. They're watching how we
They,
handle things. And
they
it's so
are.
important that we handle them the right way,
We,
because they're miming after us.
and
They're
we're going
really
to be held accountable,
we are
because I
going to
have
be
one
held
kid, and
accountable, most definitely.
I love him. And when I started, he came in there, he was on 1,000. And I was like, oh no, Lord. I was like, no. And I was like, is he going to be this thorn in my side? But I'm telling you what, he came in my class every day, and I was like, nope, we're not doing it today. What? I said, I'm just saying, we're not doing it today. And one day, last week, and I said, when you going to start working?
Mhm.
I was like, I need you to work. Oh, I'm going to work, Miss D. I was like, no, I need you to start today. Like, just start today. This kid has started working.
That's amazing.
He was cussing all the time, and I look at him, I'd be like, I'm sorry, Miss D. He's talking about, I'm going to try to find some words to
That's
not
it.
say. And I said, perfect, praise Jesus. And so to see him, and then they started talking about God up in there. And I was sitting in my,
That's a blessing.
I was like, oh, okay. So I sit back, and he said, told his classmates, he said, I'm telling y'all, he said, God is real. He was like, the Holy Spirit is real. And I looked at him, I said, oh, really? Right? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I said, well, what happened? He's like, I got into some trouble. He said, and I prayed to God, and he said, and God worked that thing out.
That's a
He said
blessing.
he worked it out. And then the other day he said, you want me to really tell you what I did? I was like, yeah. He told me I was just riding in the car with somebody, the car was stolen. And I said, really? And he was like, yeah. And so then they started asking me. They was like, do you have the Holy Spirit? I was like, I do. And then one guy talking about, do you do your holy day sometimes? Like, so they wanted to have this big conversation with me, but I know you have to be
That's
legit.
right.
And
That's
I
it.
was like, yeah. And then the other kid, the thorn in my side, at that time, he said, don't y'all be playing marking these people when they get their holy days. He said, like, God gonna get y'all.
God gonna get you.
And so just for that was like, Lord, they're getting it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying anything, but they're getting it. And he
They
told
are.
me,
And they're because they're watching.
yeah, and he told me Friday, he was sitting all the way in the back. He told me, Miss D, we cool? And I said, we always been cool. I said, I just need you to calm down so you can get
Right.
focused. And he was like, well, give me a high five. And he put his hand up like that. He's like, oh, so that's how you're going to do? You're going to leave me hanging? And so I just gave him an air high five. And it's just those things that God
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah,
You
that's right.
know he was a thorn in your side, but I needed you to get him
That's right.
where he's going now.
Yeah, get him on that level that he understands what's going on, and he now he has somebody on his level that can help him to get there without thinking that he has to do it in a certain way. Come to me in your own way. We can meet in the middle. So it's meeting them right where they are. And I think people forget that. I think the people that forget that you need to meet me right where I am. Every day is not going to be a good day, but meet me right where I am and help me lift me up from there. I can't lift you up if I'm already down on the ground myself.
Right.
Help me to get where I am. And I told someone, I said, I don't care where you are. I will come to you. If you're on the street, if you're in the worst part of the town, I'm going to come to you. We're going to discuss this, and we're going to travel on to where you need to be. And that's what we need to do. I don't care how gutter we have to get. Sometimes we have to get down there. Don't forget that we came from down there, and we have to meet them right where they are in order to lift them up.
But we forget where we came from when we come on this side. We
I
forget
never
where we
will.
came. And
Mm-mm.
that's why when I go to work, I look forward to them, and they're just doing so amazing. When I'm emailing these counselors, I'm like, hey, so-and-so finished. One girl, she finished 3 of her classes that she failed. She finished 3 classes
That's
in
awesome.
5 weeks.
That's awesome. Just
And
needed
we
somebody
have
to
to do better.
believe in her and to push her.
Yes, yes, yes. And so here you are, a widow now. And so how has this journey been?
When I tell you this has been the toughest year of my life, and I guess there's so much, even though we had our issues, we would
Oh,
not be the
absolutely.
best of friends all the time. That was still my
I
man
know
for
that's
25 and almost 26 years. That was my husband.
I know.
And I sat back today and I really listened to the eulogy that I gave at his funeral. And I was like, I described him to a T of who he was, even in our, we call it heated fellowship. We were still together. And when I that this last 368 days, I think because last Wednesday made a year, and
Yes.
today made 1 year of his funeral. So it's like I remember every single thing of that week when he passed away. But it has been a journey, mentally, emotionally, financially,
Yes.
physically.
Yes.
It has been a year of trying to find out who I am now without him. Because I mean, I spent 25 years single. I spent 25 years with him. Now I'm by myself. So what are the next 25 years going to hold for me?
Right.
And
Right.
so I am right smack dab in the middle of that, trying to understand how I went to pay a bill the other day. I said, I don't know what this is because he's paid this bill for 25 years. What am I supposed to do? She said, this is just the renewal of, I was talking about car insurance. She said, this is just the renewal of your car insurance. And I said, so now what am I supposed to do?
Right.
I didn't have to worry about this.
Right.
And she
Absolutely.
was like, the way, it's just those little bitty things that you take advantage of,
Girl.
going out in the barn and getting stuff out of the barn. I never had to go outside in the barn.
Because
Going in the trunk and
because
changing tires and all of that. I knew how to do it. I didn't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
because
But now
you
I
had
have
somebody to do it
I had
first.
someone to do it.
Yeah.
And he was such an amazing, peaceful man. And he was the balance in the whole house.
Wow.
Like, I'm in the house with 4 little girls, with 4 girls, 3 girls.
Right.
I made 4 for the woman. And he
Right.
balanced us all out. And it's just hard
Yeah.
now not being able to have that balance, not
Thanks
being
for
able to
that,
have his
Danielle.
voice.
Thank you guys for tuning in. And you don't take them for granted. But like you said, it's the little things. Like for me, my trigger was just changing a filter. And
I've had to do that.
he used to always say, "Come in, let me show you how to do this." And I'm like, "You got it,"
You got it.
And his response was like, "I'm not gonna always be here."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, like you're here now, so." And the day came that I had to change it, and I played that conversation in my head, and I had a total meltdown. And for some people, they're saying a filter, like this is something you should know how to do.
They don't get
I do know how to
it.
do
They
it.
don't.
But when you had a husband that did all these things, and then you're looking like
did.
you standing here in front of this filter with the door open, thinking, okay, like I gotta go get it now. I gotta go to Lowe's and find it first.
I gotta find the right part number and the right style and all of that. And it's things that you never had to do before because they handled it.
Yes.
And so the fact that I stood, and I said it yesterday in church, the fact that I stood and I'm still got my right mind and I still get up every day and I still talk to him every day and I still, like, when things don't go right, I'm like, now Dixon, I need your help with this. I need to do this, I need to do that. Right. And it's just the whole financial part of it. I'm like, people like, you're good. I said, baby, I'm not 60. I get nothing. The whole 2-income household still runs on the 1 income.
Girl,
I don't have it going on like you think I do. I'm surviving and we shall survive it all. But it's not easy. You better know the Lord. You better know the Lord.
You better. Because,
You better know the Lord.
there were times I know after he passed away, and I was just like, wow. You know,
Yeah.
you come home and you thinking, wow. And then, like, for me, my aftermath was I ate all night. I,
Yeah.
I took up eating. Like, I just ate. Yeah.
Wow. I can't even remember what I did a lot of. I think I just stayed on the go trying to act like it didn't happen. And I
Yeah.
used to tell people that it's not, they like, well, at least you're going somewhere. It's not about the going somewhere. It's coming back home to the empty bed and the empty house and
Absolutely.
knowing that his presence is not there anymore
Absolutely.
and he's not there and laying in that same bed that I shared with somebody for 25 years and now the loneliness is kicking in and it's kicked in. And I tell people all the time, loneliness make you do some crazy things. So
Absolutely.
you better stay prayed up before the Lord before you be around here
Absolutely.
regretting a lot of stuff, because when you're lonely, you attach yourself to things. You better learn how to attach yourself to the word, because you will attach yourself
I'm right
to
there
some
with you.
spirits.
I'm
You will
right.
attach yourself to some spirits. You attach yourself to some people.
And
You'll attach yourself
this
to
is
doing
real talk.
things.
This is real talk because people,
This is real talk.
yeah, and you know, and like you said, when you get in that situation, you can't say what you will and will not do.
That's right. That's
You
right. And I
cannot.
find myself explaining my happiness to people.
Mm.
Like some days I feel like, do I deserve to be happy? Like they're watching me go out. They're watching me have fun. Like, should I tell them that I'm still sad? Should I tell them that, you know, even I know I felt like that's what I was supposed to be doing. Like I should explain myself, like, even though I'm out here, I'm not the happy person, but I realized that I did my job. I
Absolutely.
promised God that
Absolutely.
I would be a helpmeet to my husband. And
Absolutely.
I did that. I helped them to the very end. I rode with them to
Absolutely.
the end. I stood with them until
Yes.
the very
Yes.
end. I did what I was supposed to do. So I deserve this part of my life now to live in a way that I feel like I can find my happy again.
Yeah, and you know,
I still cry,
oh,
but
girl.
I know he wouldn't want me around here depressed
Yes.
and head nappy, everything flying. I'm going through this cute. I'm gonna go through this cute.
And you know,
I'm gonna
and
go
I
through
was
this
like,
cute.
you know, 'cause like my husband, you know, my late husband, he had cancer, and this was his third time, and it just went quick. And so I remember I was selling paparazzi, and I got off the live that night. It was like a week prior to his death, and I had a glass of wine, and he said, "I want to have a glass of wine with you." And I'm looking because, like, mind you, he hadn't drank because he was in so much pain and all of this. And so, and he was like, just give me one of the little glasses. And I said, you sure? He was like, yeah. And so him and I was sitting here in the living room, and he looked at me and he had tears in his eyes. And I was like, what's wrong? And he said, I'm just sad because I know I'm going to leave you. And I was like, it's good. And he looked at me and he said, would you ever get married again? And I was like, man, bye, you ain't even in the ground yet. You asking me, like, am I going to get married again? And I said, I don't know. I said, probably not. And he looked at me, sis, and he said, if you find that person that makes you happy, he said, just know you have my blessing. This is a man that's being selfless,
Right.
thinking about his wife
That's
before he even
right.
leaves, to let me know if you marry. And one thing he told me, he said, don't you allow these folks around here to make you feel
That's
guilty
it.
if
That's
you
it.
found somebody tomorrow if I close my eyes. He said, you're not the one dead. He said, we done shared our years, and he said, I want you to be happy. And that's the type of man that he was. But I'm telling you, there are times when I just have so much stuff inside of me. I be like, dang, I wish I could just tell him. Do you ever feel like that? Like, I just want to tell him.
It's all the time, like when the girls do things and when things are
Yes,
happening good, things are happening bad. I remember being able to come and just lay on the bed and say, Dixon, guess what happened today?
right?
Dixon, guess what happened? Guess what's going on here? Guess who's getting married? Guess who fell
Yes,
down? Guess who did this?
yes, yes,
It's so many things that I still need to discuss with him
yes,
that
yes.
nobody new is going to
No,
understand.
they not.
They're not going to
I'm glad
understand it.
you
They're
said you
not.
feel that way because when I talk to him, he got it. He got it. Like it can be like little minute stuff,
Yeah.
but JT got it. And then you feel like if I went to so and so, they could be like, "Well, girl,
They
I mean,
wouldn't get it.
what's the big
They
deal?"
definitely wouldn't get it. Right. And so it's
Yeah,
like it was his chuckle.
right,
Like it didn't
right,
even matter. It was just a chuckle, or even if he didn't care what I was talking about, he would still chuckle. And
right,
the kids and I, we laugh all the time about things that the way he would do things. Like if
right,
we said something and he didn't really want to have a comment, it'd be and I was like, can you answer me instead of me? And you know, it was those little things that we knew what it meant. It meant either leave me alone,
right,
that's dumb, you better not to do that. We knew the difference in the because we knew
right, right,
him. And so just trying to even fathom bringing
right.
someone else around my kids,
Yeah,
trying to
absolutely.
even fathom bringing someone else around my family, because I'm such a family person. Like my
Right,
family, I love my family. My
right,
family is fantastic. I love my family.
right,
But
right.
being able to bring someone else around my family,
Because
like
it's like, are they
it,
gonna fit? Are they gonna fit this puzzle?
all of that. And I
Yeah,
know, like I said, I have to continue. Even when someone looks at me wrong, I have to remember I'm still alive and I did my
right,
job. I
right,
did my job. I can't feel guilty about this. We didn't have the you're able to marry again, but he told me if the situation was reversed, that he would marry again because he
right,
liked relationships. And I
right.
thought that I would be okay, but I'm not okay. I'm not
And
okay.
you know what? We will get there when it's time.
Right.
And I just that when you're in a season of your life where God is still growing you and
Yeah.
teaching you, because I found out a lot of stuff about myself in the last 3 months that I didn't even know about who I am,
Right.
because when
And it's knowing
people,
who you are without a mate, though, because I
right,
know who I am as a mom. I know
right,
who I am as a
right,
wife. I know who I
right,
am as a daughter and a sister. But
right,
who am I when I'm by myself, when I'm standing by myself? Who am
right,
I when I don't have anybody else to take care of?
absolutely,
Who is that person? And
absolutely,
that's what I'm learning right now is who am I and how do I stand and walk boldly being who I am when I'm alone? And
yeah,
I've never had to do it before. I've never had to. So now it's like you're not a caregiver anymore. Your kids are almost grown. You know, they're taking their own paths now.
yeah.
And now when are you going to find out who you are and continue to press forward with who you are?
Yeah. And and for me, the hardest part was getting over feeling lonely.
Yeah.
That, that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
You know?
And and I'm not there. I think Mr. JT's been passed a little while longer than Jeffrey.
Yeah,
So
3 years.
I'm
Yeah.
yeah. So I've got this 1 year ring, but
Yeah.
I'm not there. I'm not there. I'm not. I used to fuss all the time about him just letting me. Can I go by myself? Now I don't want to
Right,
go by
right.
myself. I want somebody. I want him
Me
to ride
too.
with me. I
Yeah.
want him to
Yeah.
call and say, "Are you to your destination safely?" I
Mm-hmm.
want him to say, "I got this. I'm gonna do this."
Yeah.
And now that he's not here, it's like, okay, so now what am I really going to do? And
Yeah.
and
Because
I was
because
yeah
like your husband, JT was my ride or die. He didn't care if I had a fashion show in Virginia. He didn't care. He drove me, didn't
yeah
complain. And so, I tell my girlfriends all the time, like, at some point in my life, I do tell God, I do wish to be married again.
yeah
I do.
I do
Whenever he sees fit. Because I don't
right
want to be somebody's girlfriend, somebody's boo, somebody's side piece. I don't want all that stuff, like, no. Like,
yeah.
and
Because the
like you
Bible said when
said,
he finds a wife,
there you
it
go.
didn't say when he found a girlfriend or a boo or a side piece. It
And
said
that's
when he finds a
confirmation. That's
wife.
confirmation because one of my minister friends called me this morning, and he said, "You was in my spirit this morning," and he said the same thing. And that's what I want. Like me and JT didn't have a perfect marriage by no means,
Right. None of us
But it was,
do. None of us
but it
do.
was our marriage, and we had to learn how to re-love each other because we had so much hurt. We had so much
Right.
pain that we brought to the table.
Yeah.
So we had to relearn
Yeah.
a new love.
Yeah.
And but I'm just like I'm
That's
worthy of more than just what y'all out here trying to give me.
Exactly. And I told him, I said, this dating pool is full of stuff that I don't even want to contaminate myself with right now. It's like, what is going on? Like, at this good age that we are, why are there no more stable people looking for us? You know what I'm saying? We're good women. Why aren't you seeking me out? And why are you worthy enough not to seek me out? But I think that I honestly think that we're not ready. I think we're not ready to the point where we have let our husbands rest, because I know that I'm still in the comparison phase, and people will look at me all the time and say, Jeffrey's not here. And there's not another one like Jeffrey. There's not going to ever be another one like Jeffrey. And I have to realize that my husband was so amazing, and he gave me so much freedom to be me. And he knew that I was coming home to him. And he gave me that freedom, and he wasn't over me, standing over me, trying to tell me what to do. He allowed me to minister. He allowed me to go and minister. He allowed me to be who I was. Now he'll sit back and shake his head like, what is my wife doing now? But he would still support me. And it's hard going to minister right now and he's not on the front row. It's hard knowing that, you know, he's in heaven cheering me on instead of in that front row. And if I said something, he was going to stand up boldly, like, that's to my wife right there. And when I get home, he was like, baby, you did a good job tonight. You preached tonight, man. You know, you preached tonight. And it's those things that he knew about me, that it took him 20-something years to learn about me, that I know that I'm not ready to receive or try to help somebody else to learn. And I keep, like, you know, in the beginning I was like, well, I'm ready. I'm not ready. I'm ready to find out who I am without a spouse. I'm ready to find out who I am as an individual. I'm ready to find out who I am as a single woman. And then once I get myself in place, God is saying who needs to find me, ready to find me. Because I truly believe I was the rib that my husband was missing. I do believe that. And so for another man to be missing this same rib, he's going to have to come correct,
girl. And that's, you know, that's what my oldest son, you know, him and I, we've been talking a lot. And he told me that the next person that I get will know how to treat me. And I won't have to settle. And these coming from, I have boys.
That's
And he was like, you're going to know. You're going to know, because his standard of treating you how you need to be treated, you will know.
We won't have to settle. We won't have to settle because we've already had the cream of the crop. So there's no, God definitely wouldn't let us go backwards. He's not going to give us less than what we had. If he took them, he either has something better for us, or he has us to the point where he knows we're going to be self-sufficient. So I'm truly believing God for that.
Because I'm telling you, by going from a 2-house income to just me, if it wasn't for God, I'm telling you, I would have lost my mind, because
same bills and the same kids and the same everything.
Everything. But when you have that partner that balance that load off, and then when that person gone, it's like, okay, Lord, it's just you and I now. And I can honestly tell you, the viewers, I have not lacked not one thing. I may have lost some stuff.
But maybe wasn't for yours to have anyway. So
I may have lost some material things, but you know what? It is all good, because he kept me. He kept me, and I'm thankful, because he knew when he took JT that my faith in him was where it needed to be.
And I think I've done well. I think this month of September has really told me the news of, girl, you single. You need to chill out. You can't spend like you used to spend. You can't do like you used to do. You need to chill, because these bills are coming quicker. I think they come twice a month. But he's letting me know, you know, you got this, but you're going to have to learn some self-control and self-discipline.
Absolutely.
You're going to have to learn some temperance. You're going to have to. And so I am sitting back now, and we're not eating out, or we're not going places that we want to go, and we're not doing things that's unnecessary. Because, and that's teaching me, but it's also teaching the girls too. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna go lacking because this is what you want. Little girl today talking about, can we get food in Japan? Huh? Where this money coming from? I just went bought groceries yesterday. We're gonna get groceries out of the kitchen. And so it's teaching them also that you have to learn discipline and self-control, because I think time where I would try to find a way to do it just to keep some normalcy in their life. But this is our new normal.
This is the new norm. This is
our new normal. And I think people don't understand that when you have a spouse or you have a long-term person with you, is that one day that new normal may hit, and you need to be prepared for it. And you need to make sure that you've conditioned yourself, you've conditioned your atmosphere, you conditioned your family, and that y'all have had that family conversation, and that, you know, real talk is hard. Everything, like even when I renew my insurance, the lady was like, "Oh, your insurance gonna go up $30 more." Where's it gonna come from? I'm bound to paying you right now, lady, and you want me to come up $30 more? But God will supply. I'm not even gonna worry about it. But that's the way it is. It's like I've had somebody in my life for all these years, and now things have changed, you know, and like you said, this is real talk, and it's not always the easiest thing to do. Sometimes you have to sit home. Sometimes you can't go where you want to go. Sometimes you can't get that dress. Sometimes you can't get that pocketbook. Sometimes you have to sit down and realize that this is real. My new normal is that I have to learn more self-control and self-discipline. And God, whatever you're showing me in this season, I'm willing to learn. But it's for the teaching of somebody else too. It's not just for us. Even on this broadcast, I believe that, you know, I've met so many widows, and I've seen so many people widowed in the last year, and where I didn't think I could survive, God has sent me to them. Like the whole widows ministry that he's turning I'm Not Okay and It's Okay into. It's like, I have to make my way to if I hear that something happened, I have to make my way to her and let her know, you know, this is going to be okay. It's going to be, it may not look like it right now, but you will survive tonight and next week and next year and next month. You're going to survive this. And if I have to stand beside you to do it, that's what I'll do, because I have to show you that I did it. And I know you can do it too.
Absolutely.
That's
and because
ministry. That's ministry. And people don't understand that that's ministry.
They still hurting after 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
There's a lot of women still doing it.
No one was able to reach out to them, or should I say, they wasn't able, but they didn't, because they feel, oh, well, they got it, you know. But sometimes they not have that strong bone. They not have that support system. You know what I'm saying? I thank God that you and I met, and we just connected.
When you came into my life, you came into my life, what, about 6, 7 months before Jeffrey passed away? He knew exactly what he was doing when he connected us. He knew exactly what he was doing when he connected us. Because I promise you, there's no way I could have gotten through just being able to be real with you and understanding some things that we were able to talk about that people don't understand. And when you're so prideful that you feel like you have to hold things in because you can't tell people things, that really holds up your healing process. That holds up your healing process.
And me and more people watching. That's why I always tell people, you need to stop judging a person by what they look like on the outside. You know, if you go to the store and buy a book, you know, sometimes you'll flip through the first 2 pages, it's kind of reading and see what it is. But because you don't look a certain way, because you don't live in a certain area, or because somebody said they don't like you and you don't, I mean, it's time for us to grow up and get our life and get our life in order. And I have to take you for face value. If Jane don't like you, I need to get
that has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with me. That's where I have to learn you for myself. I have to
learn that person. And when we do that, because you could have easily be like, no, I ain't gonna reach out to her.
Yeah, and you know, even what you told me, I was like, there she go trying to tell me how to do stuff. But when I sat down and I listened to your sincerity, you stopped what you was doing for me. And I knew then that it had to be sincere. And I talked to a sister, her husband passed a few months after Jeffrey passed away. And she said, you're doing so much better than me. I said, am I? Am I? Am I? You don't have kids at home. I do. Am I really doing better than you? And she looked at me and she said, and no, she texted me, she said, how are you really? And that's the thing that people have. And I think God is conditioned, because I've had 3 people to ask me that in the last few weeks. How are you really doing.
Really.
Because they know what I show on the outside, but they know it has to be a part of me on the inside that's still hurting and still going through it. And so when you ask me how I am, really be prepared, because I'm going to fire it off. I got this going on, I got that going on, this is this. But to be able to get it out of your spirit,
yes,
and put it out there, and to let you know that healing is going to take place, because you've removed the scab, and you've allowed it to breathe, and it'll be a scar before you know it.
Yeah.
Because you're opening it up, and you're opening your mouth, and you're like, I need to say this. I need to stop holding this in. And if I say it, then enemy, you can't fight me with it anymore. You're out here trying to act like you're so happy, but on the inside you boiling. You can't take it. You're struggling. You're gonna lose this. You're gonna lose this. But once I open my mouth and I say it, and the Lord hears me speak it, then I know that God is going to come and see about me, because He said He would. He said He would take care of me, and He's not a man that He should lie. So I'm moving forward and trusting God.
Yes. And I'm so proud of you, because, some of our conversations, you'll be like, I don't know, sis. But the thing about it is even through your I don't know, you kept pushing.
I pushed.
And you're still pushing.
I'm pushing.
And and that's just like with me. There's sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, I just want to just stop. I don't want to do nothing I'm doing. But I know JT will be so disappointed in me. And I know I will be letting God down, because I know where He's trying to take me. Exactly. And it was funny that before he died, he talked to so many people that knew. It was like, how you get a message in a bottle? He left so many messages with people that he knew that they were going to tell me.
Wow.
Yes, and like my best friend, she said, JT treated me more like a sister than my own brother. And he said, he told her, whatever you do, make sure she completes what she started.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Everybody that he knew I was going to come encounter, he had a message for them to give to me. That's
awesome. That is so awesome. I'm grateful for the 3 months that Jeffrey and I had to spend alone. Even though it was going back and forth to Durham, I had time to wind up and wind down. And and I'm not gonna say he left messages, but I know that I still keep in touch with one of his nurses that was his nurse, and she loved him and I loved her. Right. And she told me, and every time she talked to me, she said, that man loved you. That man loved you. She said, and I saw the return of it every time you would come in that room. She said, because a lot of people didn't come and visit their family like you came to visit him. She said, I could look for you every other day. If you said you was coming, you was coming. If he was acting up, I knew you was coming. She said, the relationship that you guys had was something amazing. She said, it was something that the world should have seen. She said, because you stood by him. You could have let us take care of him, but you came and you made sure he ate, made sure he didn't argue about taking his medicine, and those things that I know I did. You know what I'm saying? And I knew he loved me. I knew he loved me. And like I said, it's gonna be hard to find anybody else to try to stand in that gap, because I know he loved me. He loved me enough that he didn't let me make a decision for him. That he made a decision for himself, because he knew I couldn't have done it. He loved me that much that he closed his eyes and told God he was ready after I left him. 2 hours. I was gone 2 hours before he started descending. And he loved me so much that he made sure I didn't have to make a decision. And I appreciate him for that. I appreciate him for that so much that I miss the arguing. I miss the fussing with somebody. And he would sit there and he would just go mute and sit there like this. I miss seeing that part. I miss it. And I miss it. And like you said, though, there were so many private conversations that we had about ministry, about people, about the works that I have to do, that people don't understand that when I make a move, it's not on my own. It's something that he and I have discussed, that he knows that the greatness on the inside of me was being stagnated because I was holding myself back. And once he transitioned, he knew that I was going to be able to do it. So to even think about bringing someone else in right now that's going to hold me back from doing true ministry, is unfathomed, because I know that he is pushing me. He's pushing me in the ministry. He's pushing me in writing the book. He's pushing me and pushing forth in everything that I'm doing next with his name attached to it.
Absolutely.
I still feel him pushing me. I still feel him pushing me. So it's going to work out. I know it's going to work out. However God says for it to work out, it's going to work out.
Absolutely.
It's just a part of the healing is a process.
It's a process. And that's like I tell people all the time, you know, there's no certain time, no certain day that you have to grieve. There'll be days, there have been months that I've been fine. And then all of a sudden, something triggers, you know, and like for me, when he passed away, after, you know, I had the service and everything, like that next week, I came home and I cleaned house. I got rid of all his stuff, because for me, I wouldn't go in the closet, because that was the last thing, because I gave everything that people like, his bow ties, his socks, I gave him to like his mentors and stuff like that. But the last thing was a closet, and I'll never forget, I called my children, I called my sister-in-law them, and I said, listen, I said, tonight is just going to be me and JT and some wine. I said, so I'm just letting y'all know, call and check on me, you know, every so often. I said, because I'm finna, you know, this was the last piece of him, because I wouldn't go in the closet, because when I went in there to get something, I found myself smelling everything that I thought that would smell like him. And I said, Lord, I said, it's got to be a better way, because I can't do this. I can't. I just can't do it. And so that's what I did. I had my wine and I was sitting on the floor, because he always talked about me buying clothes and having tags and sneaking them in and stuff. So when I was going through his stuff, what I find? He got clothes on there with tags on it. And so I'm sitting down here having a conversation with him. I was like, oh, really, JT? So this is the stuff you do? Oh, you talking about me got clothes. And that was so healing for me.
Yeah.
You know, and my son, they be like, hey, just checking out. And I was good. And some people say, well, how did you do it? I said, because I needed that for me. It may not work for you, and that's fine. But for my journey and my healing process, that's what I had to do. That's what I had to do. And then, you know, even with the pictures, the only picture I have up in this house of him is the one that I had on his little bookmark for his obituary.
Wow.
Because it was so many memories, because like you
and people don't understand that. And it's like, I took my wedding ring
together. We took pictures together. I mean, every time you came in, we were like, you remember when we went here? And so the only picture that I have in my home right now is of him on the thing. And I can see it when I walk in. But that's the only.
And I took my wedding ring. Somebody said, you already took your wedding rings off? I said, that was a reminder that I was a wife. I said, and I'm not a wife anymore. I said, and it hurts me to remember that I'm uncoupled. You know what I'm saying? I don't get invited to the couples ministries anymore. I don't get invited to couple events anymore. And I was a good couple. I was a really, really good couple. And now I'm single. And I don't think the singles know how to invite me somewhere, because they feel like it's too fresh. So it's like you're in limbo of, I can't go over here, I can't go over there. So I took my rings off and I put them up, and I'm going to do something for my girls with them, because that's what he gave me, and I want to make sure that they have something that he trusted with me to give unto them. So it's like, you know, you have to do what you have to do to start your healing process, and that's a healing process for me. It's not that I do it because I want the world to know I'm single. It's because it hurt me to know that I am no longer married. I'm a widow. I'm not with this man, is not here anymore. It wasn't my decision that he wasn't here anymore. I can't just go say, come on back from your mama house and come stay with me again. I can't do that. This is permanent. This is permanent. And sometimes it hurts more than others. Sometimes it really does hurt more than others.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I can, like you said, I can still smell his cologne. I sold his car. I gave my son the cologne, and he doesn't wear cologne enough for me to smell like that. But like even the other night, crazy, I know. But I told somebody, I said, I'm tired of sleeping by myself. And crazy, it might have been the what was those pills I took? My allergy pills. But when I laid down and turned my back to his side of the bed, I declare I could hear them covers rustling. Honey, I jumped up in that bed so fast. I changed my mind. I do like sleeping by myself. Don't you know? But it gave me peace. It gave me peace to laugh and to know that he was laughing too. Because I remember when his uncle passed away, his uncle brother passed away, and we was going to the hospice place to see him, and he was walking down the steps and he tripped. He said, I believe that man just pushed me down these steps. So we laughed about that all the way to hospice. And so I really believe when I said I was tired of sleeping by myself, that I felt his presence so strong. I'm like, okay, look, I'm good. I said, you go where you going. We straight. You just, I'm good. I figured out. I figured out. But it's that made me smile through this week. But this week, I remember everything. Like I said, I remember everything about this week. I remember the doctor's phone call. I remember having to call my family. I remember having to plan the funeral. And like I said, today would have been the day that we buried him. Wow. And so I remember the speech that I gave, the eulogy that I gave at his funeral. And I'm going to post it on Facebook because when I listened back to it, it meant so much to me. And I remember after the funeral, one of my sisters from the church walked up to me. She said, you know what you did, don't you? I said, what I do? You made me get my act together. I'm going to have to do better. And she did. And she told me that. She said, I'm going to have to do better. She said, because you spoke on a man today. And I know I have that same type of man. And I'm going to have to appreciate him more while I have him. And I said, to God be the glory. It was not in vain. It was not in vain. So I just want to be a light to somebody. I want to be a light to somebody that, don't wonder how I'm doing it. Know that God is the only way that I am doing it.
Absolutely.
But know that I stayed there. I wasn't stuck there because I could have left if I wanted to. With all the sickness, all the pain, all the turmoil, all the caregiving versus being cared for.
Absolutely.
I could have left at any time, but I trusted God. I stayed right there. And people will say that I admire you for staying there. And I tell them quick, if you have a mate that will not stick by you in your toughest times, you need to leave them right now. You need to leave them right now because you're not with the right person.
No, you're not.
You're not with the right person.
But that's like, JT, even when his sickness got worse, he used to always tell me, you can go. You can go because he didn't want me to be a burden,
Right.
He didn't want me to have to do this, And in order for me to cope, I would wait to break down on my way to work because I never wanted him to feel like he was a burden.
Right.
And so on the way to work, I would cry. And at that time, I was doing preschool. But when I got there and I saw those little faces, it made it, it just made it easy. And I come back home. But like you said, I told him, I said to death do us part. And even in the mix of his,
death do us part, right?
We was getting ready to be divorced, and I'm just like, okay, Lord, I mean, what is going to be? And I never forget our conversation in the kitchen. He was like, can we just try this thing one more time?
And that's it. And like I told you before, it's like
one more time, and we did. But I told him we have to be intentional.
Yeah.
About making it work because people thought we was just this perfect couple. We dressed alike. No, honey. There was times I didn't even like him. There were times we went to church and we would fuss and get in the church.
Didn't even speak all the way. Didn't even speak riding all the way to church together. And didn't speak when we got back in the car leaving church.
Exactly.
But that's that realness. That's the realness. That's the real, right?
And I got tired of, and I told him one Sunday, I said, I'm tired of us doing this. I said, who are we doing it for? I said, we go to church, we praising to God, speaking in tongues, I'm dancing, singing on the praise team and stuff, and then we come to church acting like we ain't saying nothing to each other or argue. For what? God saying, look at y'all. Look at you.
That's it.
You trying to please everybody else and letting everybody think you got it together. Nope, sorry, we don't.
That's it. And you can't hide from God. No. And people always want to tell you, well, you can do this, you can do this. I can't hide from God. So what am I got to hide from man for?
Right.
And like you just said, Jeffrey and I recommitted ourselves the week before he got sick. Yeah. And I told him, I said, I think that's what made me so angry because we were determined to make it this time.
Absolutely.
We were determined to make it work, like not for face value, not just because we're in the same house and have the same last name, but we were determined to make it work this time. And I honestly believe that God did that so that he could strengthen me to go through the next 3 months with him or what he was going through. Because if I was in that same state of mind I had been in at the end of May, then rather than what I went into June with, I don't know how I would have sat at that hospital those 3 months. And real talk, I don't know how I would have done it, but God conditioned my heart on that day. And in that 1 week that we had, that we restored who we were as husband and wife, that I was able to sit there in pride. And this is what I'm supposed to do. And this is how I'm supposed to love my husband. And this is how I am supposed to. So he is still the king of my house, even laying on this bed. He is, I still ask him things. What do you think is best if we do this? What do we think is best? Because we still had that desire for him to come home. And when he came home, that week he came home, he was able to see that I was going to be okay. He was able to see that without me, she's going to be all right. He had to see it for himself. He had been gone 3 months. And when he saw that the boys were going to be good, the kids were going to be good, the grandkids were going to be good, he was ready to go back to the hospital and get himself together. And he knew that if he had passed away in this house, that it would have been a problem and trauma for all of us. But God had it all set up. God had it set up so precisely that he was able to go with dignity. He was able to go with pride. He was able for the kids to say their goodbyes. God had it set up so precisely that I can't even argue with God. I can walk around every day and say, I just want my husband back. But that's for my own selfishness. It's not about him. It's for my own selfishness that I don't want to be here by myself. I don't want to do this by myself. And when people be like, I want a divorce, I want this, you better know what you're asking for.
And just
life
like with
is
me,
different.
he had it 3 times, and I always tell people the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, because he knew if he would have took him the first 2 times, I'll be in somebody's cuckoo house right now. But the third time, I was ready, sold out to Christ.
That's right. And it mattered. And like
I'm telling you, and a lot of people know, I slept with him the last 3 days in his bed at hospice, physically knowing that he is dying. He's dying. It wasn't me. He didn't do this for me. He did it for us that we can help other widows.
That's right.
Do you think God would have wanted to just stay in that bed with him for 3 days? No.
It was for other people. It definitely truly was not for us.
It was truly for other people. But
and like I said, I when I went to a funeral a few weeks ago of a young lady whose husband passed away, he was one of my classmates. And I was sitting around, I said, I have to talk to this wife before I go. I have to talk to her before I go. And when I said some things to her, she looked at me, she said, how you know? I said, because I lived it. I lived it. I said, I lived it and I survived it. And you will too. And you're going to survive it. You shall do it. You will do it. I said, if I have to hold your hand through the process and I don't even really know you like that, I will do it, because you have to survive. You have to survive this. It's not your turn to die. It was God's turn. If God took him, so it's your turn to live now. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but you're going to get your time to live and to be who you're supposed to be as a single person. This will be what I am will be your testimony one day. And I still cry. I promise you, I still cry. I ride down the road and I see him healthy in my head, and I'm like, I miss the healthy person. I would never want that sick man to come back to me. I miss that healthy person. But when I realized that he was no longer that, and the doctors were saying his body could not bounce back into being that, I didn't even want him to suffer anymore. I wanted God's will to be done.
Thing when you love somebody and you see them wilter away.
I did, and it was so hard.
There's nothing you can do. I mean, because JT, he was not a big man, but he weighed about 200 pounds. And to see him like 100 and something pounds and how he just was wiltering away. And I was just like, wow.
This is not the will of God. Right. This is not the will of God. And I told someone the other day that God doesn't mess with our free will. I said, my will would have been for my husband to be healed, but I don't know what his will was.
Right,
And God granted
right,
his will.
right.
God granted him his will of
Yeah,
saying, you know,
right,
I'm going to, God, I'm ready. So God gave him what he asked for.
yeah.
He didn't mess with his free will. I wanted him to stay
Mhm,
for my own selfish reasons.
yeah.
But he let me leave, because I promise you, if I had stayed at that hospital, I would have been fighting them doctors to keep him here.
Oh,
But he waited for me to leave so that his will and God's will would be done. And
yeah.
I'm
And I think
going
that
to
he
make
was
it through
ready.
this.
He was ready, but he had to make sure I was ready. You know,
That's it
because
right there.
I called everybody because they told me like, oh, well, it's gonna be Wednesday. And I was like, okay. And so I called everybody. I was like, okay, who? Because you know how growing up, you hear like people said, he's waiting. They're waiting to hear from somebody. They're waiting to talk. So
Right.
I called everybody that I thought that he needed to hear. And that night, when I tell you, he fought. He was fighting, like really fighting, swinging his hand. And because of how, you know, you and Jeffrey probably were, we had our own language with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was in the bed and I looked over here and I said, let me tell you something right now. I was like, you better get on up out of here. I was like, get up out of here. I was like, go. I said, I am good. I was like, you have been an amazing husband. I said, you done earned your wings. I said, your mom and dad is waiting for you. I was like, go. I was like, we are good. I said, I am good. And I play music all the time, and I put my phone up by his head, and I play Tasha Cobb's "You Know My Name." And I'm telling you, that man, he just whole body relaxed. And when he took
Wow.
his last breath, I was getting out of the bed, and the nurse was coming in,
Wow.
and
Peace.
I
He
was,
was at peace. He was
yeah,
at peace. And that's the thing. And like I said, when I remember walking out of the room, I remember walking out of the room, going to the bathroom and coming back in the room, and I leaned over on Jeffrey and I kissed his forehead. And there was a tingle on my lips when I kissed him. Here, 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 on his nose, and I kissed him on the lips. And my lips tingled, and he just smiled. He wouldn't say anything. He just smiled. And I prayed with him and I said, say amen. I said, God heal him. And I said, I see you tomorrow. I said, say amen. He said, I said,
mm,
say amen. He said, I said, so you so stubborn you can't even say amen. He said, he knew he
wow,
wouldn't be here tomorrow.
yeah,
He didn't want to lie to me. He didn't want to lie to the Lord. He didn't want to be here.
right,
So my lips tingled all day the next day. Even after I washed my face, I could still feel that tingle on my
mm,
lips.
mm,
But I just know that it was him saying, I'm okay.
I'm
Don't
okay,
worry about me. I
I'm
was
okay.
ready to go. And I know that when he slept away, and I got in my car after this doctor called me and told me I would not make it to the hospital, I still left my house and drove to Durham. But at
Mm,
last, a whole hour and a half, because I thought they had the wrong person. I just talked to my husband at 6:30, and at
wow,
10:30, you're telling me he's gone? I
mm,
talked to him. We had conversation. I changed him. I helped him go to the bathroom.
mm,
We talked. We laughed about so many crazy things. And you tell me he's gone? I got to see it for myself. And
yeah,
when I got there, he looked refreshed. His body looked full. He
oh,
still had that
right,
same smile on his face. And
right,
I was like,
yes.
God, I did my job. I
Yeah,
did my
and
job.
that's how
I did
good
my job.
he was.
And I just,
You know,
I
COVID
did
was here and they
my
were at
job.
weekend. And so my girlfriend came and we were standing there looking at him. And like you said, he just looked, you know, it looked like God had totally restored his
That's
whole natural.
exactly what Jeffrey looked like too. He did.
He restored him to JT, the JT that I knew,
Yeah.
not the JT
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
dwindled down to nothing.
Yeah.
Tell you, it's like his face had filled out.
Yeah.
He had like a smile, and I teased him because he was always a ladies' man. And I was like, oh, I said, I guess you're going up there now with all the hotties.
And that's the thing about
Yeah,
Jeffrey,
I
is
said,
that on that
the
Sunday,
hotties
when
now.
people rode by and saw him, he looked so frail. But on that they rode by and saw him on Sunday, and that very next Sunday we had his funeral, and he looked like the Jeffrey that I met back in
Not
1997, like I
still
married in
waiting up there.
1997. And that's why and I put just that little snippet of him laying in that casket on that last reel I did, because he looked so much like himself. I wanted people to see. I didn't want it to play a long time. I wanted people to see that God restored him back to who I married. That God restored. I didn't put, like I said, I didn't want it to play longer than like 2-3 seconds, but I wanted them to see that when he laid there and when he got to heaven, he looked like the man I married in 1997.
And that's
He
how
looked
they see me, girl.
amazing, and
I
God did
never
it.
seen anything like that in my
I had never either,
life.
but God did it. God did
Yes,
it. I have seen patients. I've seen it. I've seen people that they look sick when they pass away and they look sick in the casket. But when I tell you that my cousin embalmed him, and when he said he looked good, I didn't know what I was going to see that Saturday. But when I tell you I saw the man I married, and I think that what hurt so bad because he looked so healthy.
yes.
He looked healthy
Full,
again, but I
like
knew that
body,
he
it's
needed.
like a
I
body.
know that was
It's
his
almost like a
restored
body
body.
makeover.
It did. He looked
Yeah.
amazing. And that gives me joy. I can still look. Everybody like, why you want to keep looking at that picture? Because this is who I married. I know who I saw when I left that hospital. And who I saw that next week was not that same man. God restored him like he said he would. When I asked God to heal him from the crown of his head to the sole of his feet, I didn't realize he was going to do it in heaven. But I know that he did it. He did what I asked him to do. That I didn't have to look down on a sick man. My last vision of my husband was not a sick person. It was a healthy man who transitioned to heaven in a restored body. So it was a blessing to me. So I don't have a problem looking at that picture because that's my man.
Right.
That was my
And
man. That was my
that's
man.
how, when I saw JT and I looked at him, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Didn't look like he was sick. I mean, because he went through, but you know what? Like you said, God restored him.
God restored him, and he gives us a desire. And I truly believe that God gives us a desire of our heart. I don't think he meant for us to be caregivers for that long, for us to struggle and to, have to see them still in that sick form. He gave us what we asked for. God restored him, and he did. It might not have been on this side like we wanted, but they didn't want to go through the fighting the heart condition. They didn't want to go through fighting the cancer. Jeffrey was so tired of those wires and those hookups. And I remember when he told me, he said, this LVAD is killing me. And I didn't get it then, but I got it in the end.
Right.
We had always talked about, would you want a heart transplant? Would you want another LVAD? And he would tell me, I don't want to be cut again. I don't want to be cut again. And he was telling me then what his decisions were. So it was so easy that he was still talking and able to tell the doctors what he wanted and what he didn't want. So I didn't have to make those hard decisions. He loved me enough that I didn't have to make those hard decisions. So that was a
the final
blessing.
decision. And JT always told me he didn't want to be hooked up to any machines, no nothing.
Right.
And when his chemo, when his cancer spread so fast, they wanted to do medicine. He said, nope. He said, I'm gonna go home.
It's just a blessing that God gave us. He gave us the opportunity to have men that loved us.
Yeah.
He gave us the opportunity to know what love was.
Yes.
He gave us the opportunity to know that as a single mom of 2 children, that my kids knew what a dad was.
Absolutely.
He was a father. He wasn't a stepdad to my kids. He was a father to my boys. He helped me raise my boys. He did that. And even in the hardest of times when I couldn't handle them, he went to the schools with them. He talked to them. He gave them the man-to-man talk. When their fathers wasn't around, I thought I didn't have to do it. He gave me a man who loved me and my sons just like they belonged to him. And he gave me the opportunity to have my oldest daughter in my life. And now we're like the best of friends. We can talk about anything. And sometimes I have to remind her, oh, you grown now. We're going to have this conversation because you grown now and we're going to talk about this. And so he gave me my best friend. He gave me a wonderful bonus side of the family with my in-laws. They're great people. I still stop by and talk to them, and I still check on them. We still talk at church. He gave me what I needed.
Yes, absolutely.
By marrying this man, he gave me what I needed, and it's been such a blessing to me that for 25 years I know what love feels like. You can't come trying to show me anything because he showed me what love was.
Right.
So
hey, Rhonda.
Again, back to that, I gained strength from knowing what love was.
Absolutely. And God has positioned us, like you said, that we're going to be able to help other women that's hurting because they've lost their spouse. And and like you said, people can say, you seem like you got it all together, girl. Sometimes I don't even know if I'm coming or going. But one thing I do know is that
No
God
clue.
has kept me for such a time as this.
And he's
And that's why
keeping me.
we have to be able to let people know, like we are now, it's okay to grieve. Can't nobody tell you how
That's
long to
it.
grieve, because like I
And
tell
and,
people,
and, 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 and I watched this movie. I don't know if you watched it. I can't even think of the name of it. What was it? Love Again. I think it's called Love Again. And that's this man said, no, she said, grief will always be a part of me because I loved him.
yes,
I will never stop grieving him because I loved him, because he showed me love. I'll never stop grieving him, but I do have to press on and live again. I have to live again and maybe one day love again, but I have to press on. So the grief is still here because the love was still here.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just have to learn how to deal with it. And
yeah.
again, it goes right back to the ministry. I'm not okay, and it's okay.
It's okay.
I'm in my healing process.
Absolutely.
However long it takes me to heal, if I never heal from losing a person that was in my life for 25 years, that's okay too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I'm okay. Today I'm okay. Tonight I might cry myself to sleep. Tomorrow
Absolutely.
I may be okay and want to go on a date. Friday I might cry myself to sleep.
Exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
all a part of it's the process.
It's a
It's
process.
the process of healing.
It's a process. And I know it's about time for us to get another
I was scared to talk. We done talked the whole hour and a half.
yeah, I know, but listen, but it's not time for us to do something else.
I'm excited. I am.
Yeah,
We're gonna get together, and I want it to be something where women are restoring each other. I
yes.
want it to be something where, I was talking to somebody and I said I want our next event to be like broken up, like abuse women over here, or women from child molestation over here, widows over here,
Yes.
and in the end we all come together in a full
Yes.
circle to
Yes.
lift each other up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you discussed your issues over here, you discussed yours over here.
And
Now let's come together and say that what we've learned and we've let it go and put it in the middle,
right.
and let's all just let it go and just press on together as sisters.
Yes.
And I'm so excited about being able to get something like that done, that, we all go through something. We're all going through something.
Oh,
I just recently was able to talk about things that happened to me when I was 12 years old, and how it affected my life in 51, and
right.
how I'm pressing on through it, and how I'm going through it. And it's like, why did I just get to this point? It's because nobody asked me why, how, when, where. It's the tough questions that we don't ask, that we have to sit down and learn to ask one another as women, because we're going through it. We're still holding on to it. But if you don't ask me the tough questions, then I'm not going to answer the tough questions. So that I'm still carrying it around on the inside. But once you ask me those questions and we're ready to talk about it, deliverance is going to be in the house. And if we got to stay there all day, it doesn't even matter to me. As long as my sisters leave delivered, I'm so excited about this event. I'm so excited about it.
Well,
so
and since you just gave me confirmation, because I was talking to one of my friends and I said, me and her go to church together, and I said, there's a lot of women, and men too, but we was talking about women, they're sitting up in the church, saved, filled with the Holy Ghost, and they are still hurting. They're still
broke.
They still hurting from unforgiveness, whatever. And I said, but we say we love a God, but if we love him, then we can take everything to him at the altar and say, listen, this is all I got. I'm going to give you this unforgiveness. I'm going to give you whatever I'm holding on to, because how can we truly live a saved and sanctified life when we still want to hold on to this hurt?
And that's it. And as long as we hold on to it, the devil's going to use it to keep hurting us.
And we're going to still stay in bondage. And God's saying, I know what you've been through. I'm just waiting for you to give it all to me, so I can really show you what deliverance is, really show you what salvation is, so you can praise me freely.
That's it. And I promise you, I'm in a place now about my past that I'm like, oh, okay, and what? You know what I'm saying? we don't ask the tough question like, sis, how did you get here? Why did you stay so long? What made you do that again? Where do you plan to go from here? How do you think it was gonna, what did you learn from it? How will you grow from it? It's like the tough questions, like, okay, so I know you were in abusive marriage, but let's talk about the tough questions. Why did you stay there? What did he say to you to make you scared to leave? What insecurities did you have to make you stay there? Ask the tough questions so you can think about it, like, why have I been beating myself up so long about this when he no longer has control over me in this area? And once you speak it, the control is loose. They no longer have control over you. That situation no longer has control over you. And we have to get to the point where you can trust your sisters enough to know that when I answer these questions, I know you're going into prayer with me.
Right.
If you choose to talk about me, I hope the Lord bridles your tongue.
Right.
Because I didn't tell you this for you to talk about.
It's
right.
It's not,
it can't shame me anymore.
And God said, I'm his child. Who are we to let these people out here make us feel bad? Because we may have been on the streets, we may have been somewhere. Because you know what? I think right now, the way I am, there is no heaven and hell that you can put me in. And what you tell me right now about my past, if that's where you want to still live in 1985, you live in 85, but I'm in 2023. Because I'm
on chapter 51. You still living in chapter 12, 13, 14, and 15. I'm in chapter 51. I'm in chapter 51, and chapter 50 taught me some stuff. Chapter 51, I'm in a whole new era. And how I'm gonna act. I won't let you tell me how to act. I won't let the things that 12-year-old girl went through tell me how to act. Absolutely. I've got to release her someday, some way or another. Absolutely. I have to release her. And I think I've finally gotten to the point where I've released her to the point where I can move on and I can move forward.
And that's like I tell my children. I don't care if you live in the projects or on a mansion. You don't have to act like your situation. You don't have to act like your environment. But a lot of times we get so conditioned that we want to still, it's okay to hang or whatever, but only because you was raised here don't mean you still got to have that mindset.
Correct. Correct.
You don't have to have that mindset. It doesn't mean that you're thinking you better, but if you say you're a new creature, you're going to start acting like a new creature.
You're going to start acting like a new creature in your timing, because you're going to get tired. You're going to get tired. Sooner than later, you're going to get tired of not having what God has prepared for you.
Absolutely.
You're going to get tired. So,
absolutely. But when you plan your when you plan it, you know, I got you. You know, I got you. I tell you, when I took those girls there, we was riding. They said, "Well, dang, how long we ride?" I was like, "We almost there." I was like, "We almost there." But once they got there, they was fine. And so on the way back, they was like, "So what we gonna do?" Because I had told them we were gonna go to the museum, so I ended up having to still take them to the museum. But they were about to ride going back because they knew it was gonna be something fun.
Right.
That was just a blessed time for me. I would like to do this again, so I would like to see, you know, the updates of the ladies, you know, because
I'm excited.
I met some beautiful women. Beautiful.
Yes, and they are still thriving and striving, and I'm excited about that. And I try to make, you know, hey sis, you're doing all right, sis, you know, just to keep them encouraged, and just to make sure, you know, sis, you're not alone. That's the main thing we need to know, is that we're not going through it by ourselves. We are not going through it, but we are all going through something. We are all going through something, and I just want them to know that if you need me, I'm there. If you need me, I'm there.
Absolutely. Well, whatever you plan, you know I will drive to you.
And I'm gonna start coming to you. I got you.
I know, but you know what?
You're all over the place.
No, it ain't about no tick for tat. You know how some people.
I know, but I want to go.
Yeah,
I like to go.
But yeah, I just thank God for you. I think, you know, him bringing us together.
Yes, a blessing.
Strangers on here.
Yep. Strangers on here, but God knew what he was doing when he allowed us to come together.
Absolutely.
And I thank God for it. I thank God.
Absolutely. I love you so much, sis. You know, I mean, you know, we got to get back into our groove. We're like, hey, how you doing? Or whatever. Yeah. But you know what? The beauty of it is when you can see your sister in Christ, and just sister in general, just saying, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it how God wants me to do it.
That's it.
And I'm so proud that, you know what, even when you was having your moment, you didn't quit.
Still standing.
Kept moving, and you're doing your thing. You're doing your thing, and like I said, you're just a jewel, and I'm just thankful that you, even, you know, we're going through our season, that you just said, okay, I'm gonna do this. I knew you was nervous because I was like, okay, she gonna do this, and I didn't say you. I mean, and I knew you was gonna do it, and I know Jeffrey
I
will be
got you.
so proud of you.
And I know. And he know I love to talk. So he probably, I can't believe she up there acting like she nervous.
Yeah,
But
yeah, but I truly love you, and just thank
I
you
love
for
you too.
being who you are, just who
Yes.
you are with everybody else, and especially who you are with me.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so
Yes,
much for giving me this avenue to speak. Thank you for
yes,
this topic and being able to free our spirits and talk about the
yes,
amazing men that we have and what
yes,
our next level of blessings are and what our next
yes,
steps are as widows, as they want to call us. But I truly believe that we're just overcomers of the
yeah,
situation,
yeah,
and we shout and people will see the greatness that this is not a,
absolutely.
they can make it too. So this is
Yeah,
important to do. This is an important topic to speak on, and I believe
yeah.
it's going to help somebody. It
And
may even
more,
help marriages, and it may even
yeah,
help marriages
yes,
because we stayed, we fought, and we stayed.
yeah,
And there's so many times that people give up and they quit so fast,
yeah,
but it's important to stay and to live
yeah,
out your vows because your blessings are doing what you told God you was going to do
yeah,
until death
yeah.
do us part, and that's
That's
what I
what it
did.
is.
That's
Yeah,
what we did. So
yeah. Well,
I
I
thank
love
God for the
you.
vows. Just
But
think on
like
the vows.
yeah, and let me know, like I said, just hit me up and say this is the date and whatever, and
Got you.
yeah, we
I got you. I
do this.
love you so much.
I love you too.
Okay, take care,
You
baby.
too. Bye.
Bye bye.
Uh, guys, thank you for just tuning in to Hot Topic with my sister Felicia. Did you? All you got, you can just
I don't know
close
what
it
to do.
out. Just hit.
Oh, just close out.
Yeah, just close it out.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Goodbye. Um, I just want to say just thank you guys for tuning in to Hot Topics with Donna. This truly has been an amazing topic. We're talking about grief. And guys, love the people that love you. Love the people, even if they say, hey, I don't want to deal with you, still love them because life is too short. Um, on, on last Wednesday, I lost someone that was very, very dear to me. I had just hung out with them that Saturday and Sunday, and come to find out on Wednesday they passed away. So we cannot continue to walk around and take life for granted because we don't never know when our number is going to be called. But one thing that I do know for sure, we must get everything right. Love people. We don't have time for this foolishness. We don't have time for this jealousy. We don't have time to be hating on people that is doing what God has called them to do. And it's not our business to say what God has called them to do. All we need to know is what God has called us to do. Is he going to be pleased with us when we see him? Are, are we doing what he has called us to do? So I challenge each and every one of you tonight, make sure what you're doing, God has called you to do it. Doesn't matter what it is, because we should include him every little thing we do. Even in little things, he's concerned about those too. I had no idea that when I left my friend on Sunday, talked to them on Monday and Tuesday, that Wednesday was going to be their last day. So I'm telling you guys, let's love each other, love ourselves, and give people grace and mercy that he give us each and every day, that he allow us to wake up, because we haven't arrived yet. We will arrive when we hear his voice and he said, well done, my good and faithful servant. Not well done because you had a whole lot of followers, not well done because you did A, B, and C, but well done because you did what I asked you to do. You did what I called you to do. But grief is real. You cannot tell people how to grieve. Love on them. Encourage them. And like my sister Felicia said, only because we look like this and we go about our day, and I done been going about my day for the last 3 years, she's been going about her day for the last year. Guys, the pain is still real. We're just choosing to trust God to get us through it day by day, month by month, and in my case, year by year. When you think you're just going along, then something would trigger you and you have one of those moments. But it's okay. So I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We got the week with Hot Topics with Donna. HOT stands for honest, open, and transparent. On Hot Topics with Donna, we interview ordinary people doing extraordinary things in their lives and in their communities. So we will be back next week with another guest. I might come on tomorrow, and I have different topics that we're going to talk about. Hey, Robert, how are you? But guys, most of all, just love who you are. Be content in the place that you are. If you need to do better, then we just have to do better. My friend Robert, I am going to knock you out. But guys, I love you. Share, share, share. Our lives. I have a YouTube page, Detailer Network. Go in there and follow us. I do download all of our contents that I do here. So I will be updating those this week. So anytime you want to go back and see a video of the live, that's the place to go, to Donna Taylor Network. But I love you guys. I love you guys. And I will see you maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But until then, you guys be blessed. Bye.